Alright, what is up YouTube? It's your boy TrillyDaGamer, and today we're going to be finally fully jumping into our 50-year NBA sim. We're going to be going from the year 1983 to 2033, potentially even a few years after that, just to watch Wemby retire, LaMelo retire, stuff like that. Just watch all the younger players that we have right now. We get to watch them, but that's potentially. So, a few things. This is just the startup vid, the vid to get us all ready. I do have a couple goals in mind and a couple things to do. So I will be turning off the 30, 60, and 90s, so any player can be traded anywhere, and I will be turning off the stipend rule, which doesn't allow you to trade consecutive first picks in years. So I will be turning that off. As far as this, randomized storylines and the generated ones, this will count as all the players I've had to make via 2K. So, Charles Barkley, for example, might end up being an 83 overall player, or he might end up being a 99. Same with historic. Hakeem might be the greatest center of all time, or he might just never pass a 90. So, yeah. Therefore, we're not going to be controlling the user budget, I don't believe. Yeah, we're not going to be doing that. So, first thing, on to the news. So, I do have a accurate 83 to 84 player thing, but my one pet peeve, which y'all will see in minutes, will be there. I will explain that in a second. Next off, we are not going to be automating basically anything. The only thing I will be changing is whenever... Actually, I can barely change any of that here. But I will be boosting the salary cap up by 0.20, the inflation rate up by 60, and then the hard cap gets to go up to 615. That just gives a little bit more wiggle room. Here we go again. Stipend rule off. Financial trade rules on. Recently signed. These all are going to be off, so no rookie signing restrictions, no recently traded, and no recently signed. Other than that, technically we will be doing trade approval. Trade frequency, we're going to be putting up to 45 via that. So what we're going to be doing, or we'll fix all of this too. Yeah, we'll fix all of that, so I'm not worried about this. And let me just do this and this. So first thing we're changing is, for this whole simulation, we will be having 13 all-stars. We will be having 13 rising stars. I like giving the aspect of having more people get involved. So yeah, we will also be doing the 65 game requirement. I don't want a player like Larry Bird to average a triple-double for 30 games and then get injured for the rest of the season and win MVP if he didn't play the next 52 games. So that is that. We do have specified years that we will be taking out, or adding new teams, I should say, my bad. Reduce the rookie rate scale so that first round picks receive reduced contracts. That is also something I will be adding, and then I believe that is it. So we will be every team, which means we will be going on with the teams, and y'all are gonna see in real time. I'm not gonna chop out a lot of these videos. Most of these videos are gonna be full 30 plus minutes, because this is what y'all basically requested. So if you were to type in this right here, you can see that my Trilly's roster pops up. You don't want to use this draft class because it messed up. But I do have 1984 here with 72 real players, and so that is going to be the correct draft class. Anyways, so let's go over a few of the rules that I have in place that will allow us to run this sim. So first off, a lot of you suggested that I control the trades. A lot of you suggested I control what happens with a trade in general. So let's say I feel like Andrew Tooney doesn't want to be in Philadelphia anymore. That's when I would go here to Philly, and I could do via based off of trade finders, but I don't know yet. We'll figure it out as we go. But yeah, so I will be doing 3 trades per team. So basically, I can't just send, and the trades are going to be a little bit iffy. In the comment section, y'all can, tell me what kind of trades I should be hitting up or what trades I should be doing. So like, for example, let's say in the next episode, y'all say I should trade World Be Free to the Boston Celtics. Think of a package to, move them. Next up is I'm going to have a no super team rule, which means a team like the 76ers, for example, could have 390 pluses if that meant the rest of their team was 85s or lower. I'm going to try to balance out each team to where no team is completely super cracked, but also no team is super bad. I'm going to try to keep up with it, but I can't promise that I can. I mean, of course, the team already, each team has roughly a 90 almost, or a higher 80 player. There are some teams that, of course, like Ralph Sampson is the best player on the Rockets, of course. But yeah, so other than that, we will also be showcasing rookies' first games. We will be doing first game or final games of the playoffs for like game 7s, contender games. We might have some episodes where it's a literal full video of, let's say, a good team facing off. So let's say maybe we want to watch the Celtics versus 76ers. That's what we will be doing. Other than that, let's go over the expansion years. That way, we know what years we're going to get our expansions. So if I just do NBA expansion, and we do years, so I have, so in the 1988 season, we'll be getting the Miami Heat and Orlando Magic, or Charlotte Hornets, my bad. In 1989, I believe it is, we'll be getting the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Grizzlies, I believe, or is it, or this time it's the Magic. It's one of them. And then we will be getting, I believe, 95, I want to say, is Raptors and Grizzlies. And then 2004 will be the Bobcats / Hornets. With that being said, 1993 will be adding the Providence Steamrollers and the St. Louis Bombers. These were old defunct NBA teams that I figured we give them the chance to come back, as I actually do have to load in my custom settings. So if you ever wanted this, you just type in Trilly's Realistic. No one really knows about it that I have it. The only thing I'm going to be changing, you can see here, simulator difficulty 100, trade negotiation 85, contracts, everything is adjusted towards what I would want. Now we do have player fatigue, the possessions per game, team fast break, stuff like that. we got all that done. We got this done. The only thing, we have to trade or change this because for some reason, when you load in settings, it makes everything 0. Don't know why, but it does. And then over here, you can see the inflation rate is 100. I do have to turn this back down, and we're actually going to keep it at 75 now. That way, you know, we're good. So player progression and regression. So for the first year, let's say Jordan comes in at 84. After the first year, he'll probably only be like an 86 or 87, which I kind of like because I don't like the huge jump in overall / down. But for this sim, we're gonna put everything up to 45 instead of the normal 50s. But everything else you can see is adjusted. Like, you would actually have to train, which training effects actually supposed to be up to 60. That's it. But you're supposed to actually train your players if you wanted your players to do something. So yeah, this is gonna be very, very interesting. Anyways, back to it. 1999 will be adding the Anaheim Amigos and the Pittsburgh Ironmen. And then in 2008, we will be adding back to the NBA the Baltimore Bullets, because by then we won't have the Washington Bullets anymore. We'll have straight up Washington Wizards. So we're going to be adding the Bullets back, and then we will be adding the Buffalo Braves back. The Clippers do move from San Diego to Los Angeles, I believe, after this season or the season after. So either the 84 season or 85 or this season. So we will be having the Buffalo Braves back. And then in 2013 will be the last expansion we do. And that will have the Seattle Supersonics back and the Anderson Packers. Alright, and next thing to address is off camera. By the time y'all get to watch the video, I will be going through and I'll be changing certain tendencies for certain players, such as giving 3-point tendencies to 3-point shooters. And we're actually going to do that. We'll be doing that live, like on here now, just so we can have, you know, a more semi-realistic feeling. Sorry, my bad. I'm trying to make sure I get this all set up. So first off, we will be going to trying to think of 3-point shooters. When you think of 3-point shooters, you know, for the 84 seasons, I think Fred Brown. So we're just gonna go check his shot 3. It's out of 10. We're gonna go boost that up to a 50. That's it. And that's basically what we're gonna do. I believe Larry Bird technically led the league, I believe, a lot of times. Oh, here's Daryl Griffith too. Daryl Griffith was actually shooting threes a lot. Oh, what am I doing? Actually, I guess that's what we'll get to afterwards. So, contracts are not fully correct / accurate. I don't know if Daryl Griffith was making $363K a year for 3 years before he left the Jazz or whatever, but I do know players like, for example, well, everyone's wrong, but Moses Malone shouldn't be on a 5-year deal. Technically, he should be on a 3-year. Julius Erving should be. Andrew Tooney should also be making less money, and he should be on a deal. So once this episode ends, we will be going through and quite literally changing all of that, so y'all don't have to worry about that. But yeah, so now we need to go find Mike Dunleavy. Mike Dunleavy was shooting threes during this era quite a bit. And yeah, that's another thing. So I did start going through and giving players jump shots, and so as y'all know, for example, Moses Malone here got his my team jumper, right? Julius Erving also got his my team jumper, and these versions of these jumpers are the best versions of their cards, either in 25. If they didn't have a 2K25 card that was higher than a big diamond, then I went to previous 2Ks, which means I still have to do it for actually quite a bit of people's. So next up is going to be, which I know I still have to do, Danny or Larry Bird, but so we're gonna do Larry Bird now. Danny Ainge was also shooting some threes. Yeah, see, Larry Bird shot 3. We'll put it to a 55. This might not be the smartest thing to do, and if they do start taking more threes than, you know, what they should be, then I'll look into it and, you know, adjust as I see fit. But putting it to 50 actually helps a lot, to be honest with you. Next 3-point shooter I can think about a lot is Byron Scott. He would semi-shoot. Now, in terms of like how much he's gonna shoot him, I'm gonna only put it to a 35. That way, you know. Yeah. So we are in the 1984 to 80, or no, we're gonna go to 83 to 84. I'm gonna look at the 3-point leaders, most threes made in the 84 regular season. So Daryl Griffith is the first with 91. Now, Larry Bird actually didn't lead the league this year's, or for a couple years, Daryl Griffith was the best shooter. But we're going to do Michael Cooper. He is going to get upgraded because apparently he shot the second most threes in this season. Now, it wasn't too crazy. He only shot about 31 of them, so we will be boosting that up. So yeah, I mean, we're probably gonna lower Larry Bird's a little bit. I do like my Larry Bird, and I do hope he starts shooting, but we're gonna just lower that just a bit. Let's see, we also got Ricky Sobers, Jeff Malone. We'll do anyone who's now made 25 plus. So we have Ray Williams on the Knicks, I believe, right? Ray Williams, so he was shooting threes. Funny enough, he was shooting them a bit, but not that much. So I'm actually going to turn down his. We didn't have Johnny Moore and Ricky Sobers. Ricky Sobers should be on the Bullets. Yep. And then Johnny Moore, I believe, is on the San Antonio Spurs. Pretty sure. Spurs, Johnny Moore. Yep. All right. Then we're also going to be changing a few big men with certain tendencies to attack the basket. I actually, for funny enough, I know Kyle Macy and Rod Foster shot a bit of threes, so we're actually just gonna change them while we're here. It makes sense. Doesn't really, you know, they're here, so what? So why not? I want to say, so Jack Sigma's tendencies, shot under basket, will change those tendencies, and I believe touches and shot. And sorry if you see any type of or you hear loud noises in the background, people outside to do things, you know, I don't know. We're also going to be putting standing dunk up and the putbacks up for a lot of these. So yeah, just mainly skilled big men that you would think would do a little bit better in terms of yeah, so he's actually got a pretty good one in terms of standing dunk. Let's put it up a little bit. In terms of putback, let's put that up a little bit. And are we missing anything else from him? Let's put yours there. Perfect. We're also going to probably go through and change. I'm going to do all the rest of this off camera. That way y'all don't got to get bored with this. So, next up, let's see. We're going to be going over the rotations, the salaries, and we're going to be going over, just in general, the thing. So, I don't want to do that team first. We want to start with the 76ers. So, as the 76ers are running it, they are currently going to have Maurice Cheeks, Andrew Tooney, Julius Erving, Bobby Jones. We're going to have Moses Malone, Sam Williams, Wes Matthews, Clint Richardson, Mark Ivoroni, Charles Jones, Bruce Kaczynski, Sadale Threat, Leo Rawdins, and Franklin Edwards. But lastly, Clement Johnson rounds out the 76ers roster. They're running a 9-man. We're probably going to change that. We're probably going to run a 10 just so, you know, he's running a 10. Was that? Oh. So this is the Philadelphia 76ers roster. Again, we will be changing certain things such as like contracts, so don't fuss there. Next up, let's go to salary cap breakdown. So you can see they have technically, and this is where I said I'm going to have to fix this, because some of these players should either A, be making more, or B, be making a little bit less, but then, you know, throughout less years or so on. So salary cap will eventually be fixed, which, damn, by the next year they clear up 10.14. Sheesh. But either way, and technically y'all seen the jerseys. We'll go over the courts at some point. So the Milwaukee Bucks, they're going to have Mike Dunleavy, Sidney Moncrief, Marquise Johnson, Alton Lister, Bob Lanier, Paul Pressey, Junior Bridgman, Nate Archibald, Kevin Gravy, Paul McKeskey, Lorenzo Romar, Randy Brewer, Linton Towns, Harvey Catchings, and Charlie Chris. That's going to round out the Milwaukee Bucks. For the Washington Bullets, we're going to have Frank Johnson at the starting PG, Ricky Sobers at the 2, Greg Ballard at the 3. We're going to have Rick Mahorn here, Jeff Rowland, Darren Day, Jeff Malone, Charles Davis. We're going to have Joe Kopicki, Michael Wilson, Dwayne Scales, Brian Warwick, and Mike Gibson, with Tom McMillan to end up this roster. Next up, we have the Chicago Bulls, who have Ennis Watley, Reggie Theus, Orlando Woolridge, Dave Greenwood, Dave Corzin, Quentin Daly, Mitchell Wiggins, Campy Russell, Brian Taylor, Ronnie Lester, Rod Higgins, Wallace Bryant, Jawan Oldham, and Sidney Green to round out the Bulls. For the Cavs, we're going to have Geoff Houston, World B. Free, Roy Hinson, Cliff Robinson, Jeff Cook, John Bagley, Lonnie Shelton, Phil Hubbard, Paul Thompson, Geoff Crompton, Stuart Granger, John Garris, Ben Paquette, and Phil Smith to round out the Cavs. The Boston Celtics are going to have Gerald Henderson, Dennis Johnson, Larry Bird, Cedric Maxwell, Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Kermit Washington, Slick Watts, who pretty sure they hired from free agency, same with Kermit Washington, so that's also going to be, so that's what we'll get to in a second. Scott Wedman, Danny Ainge, ML Carr, Quinn Buckner, and Carlos Clark with Greg Kite. So for people like Slick Watts and Kermit Washington, I guess we'll real quick transaction report. You can see there was some free agents that went, and where did it start? So it started right here. So Brian Taylor is not originally on the Bulls, neither is Campy Russell, of course. Phil Smith is not originally on the Cavs. Slick Watts and Kermit Washington were also free agents. The Clippers are going to be adding George McGinnis, who is a free agent. The Jazz are signing Kevin Porter, who was a free agent. Doug Collins is also going to the Jazz, who was a free agent. These are part of the historic free agents I've loaded in. We have the Kings signing Tom Henderson. Knicks signed Randy Smith. Mavericks had Norm Van Leer. Nets signed Geoff Petrie. Pacers signed Curtis Rowe. Pistons get Wilbur Holland. Blazers got Larry Keenan, Bob Gross. Warriors got Ken Charles, and Warriors also got Royland Bond. If you were to look at free agents real quick that's left, we still have Brian Winters, Perry Moss, Jim Jones, John Giannelli, Bubble Hawkins, Eric Money, Vince Taylor, Jim Bradley, Dave Myers, John Mengill. I mean, there's quite a bit of people up through here, so make it as you do. Anyways, let's go back to the rosters. The San Diego Clippers, my apologies, are going to be having Norm Nixon, Craig Hodges, why I never changed him, did I? Never changed his 3-point tendencies, just while I'm here, because I know I should. Yeah. Craig Hodges was a shooter for it. All right, there we go. Now that's fixed. So Craig Hodges, we have Derek Smith, we have Terry Cummings, we have Bill Walton, James Donaldson, Michael Brooks, Ricky Pierce, George McGinnis, of course the free agent, Greg Kessler, Jerome Whitehead, Hank McDowell, Billy McKinney, Hutch Jones. The Atlanta Hawks have Doc Rivers, Johnny Davis, Dominique Wilkins. This is, I believe, sophomore Dominique Wilkins. Dan Roundfield, Trey Rollins, Eddie L. Johnson, Sly Williams, Randy Whitman, Mike Glenn, Scott Hastings, Mark Landsberger, Armand Hill, Billy Poltz, and John Pannone, with Ricky Brown to round out their roster. The Utah Jazz have Ricky Green, Daryl Griffith, Adrian Dantley, Thurl Bailey, Mark Eaton, John Drew, Doug Collins, Jeff Wilkins, Kevin Porter, Jerry Eves, Rich Kelly, Tom Boswell, Bob Hansen, and J.J. Anderson. The Sacramento Kansas City Kings, again, my apologies, my bad, they're not Sacramento yet, will be Larry Drew, Mike Woodson, Eddie Johnson, Mark Olberding, Joe Merriweather, Billy Knight, Steve Johnson, LaSalle Thompson, Tom Henderson, Kevin Lauder, Dane Suttle, Don Buse, Ed Neely, and Larry, I forgot how to say his last name, so I'm not going to try to pronounce it. The New York Knicks are going to have Rory Sparrow, Randy Smith, Bernard King, Truck Robinson, Bill Cartwright, Ray Williams, Darrell Walker, Lewis Orr, Trent Tucker, Eric Ferguson, Ernie Grunfield, Rudy Macklin, Len Elmore, and Marvin Webster. The Los Angeles Lakers, aka Showtime, will be featuring Magic Johnson, Michael Cooper, Jamon Wilkes, James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bob McAdoo, Byron Scott, Mike McGee, Larry Spriggs, Eddie Jordan, Swen Nader, Mitch Kupchak, and Calvin Garrett, with lastly Kurt Rambis, rounding out their roster. The Dallas Mavericks are going to be having Brad Davis, Orlando Blackman, Mark Aguirre, Pat Cummings, Kurt Nymphius, Dale Ellis, Jay Vincent, Derek Harper, Norm Van Leer, Elston Turner, Jim Spanarkel, Roger Fegley, and Mark West, with lastly Bill Garnett to round out their 14. The New Jersey Nets are going to have Kelvin Ramsey, Otis Birdsong, Albert King, Buck Williams, Daryl Dawkins, Michael Ray Richardson, Darwin Cook, Mike Gaminsky, Mike O'Corin, Mark Jones, Bill Wallaby, Reggie Johnson, Foots Walker, Geoff Petrie is going to round out their bench. The Denver Nuggets are going to have Rob Williams, Alex English, Kiki Vandeweghe, Dan Issel, Danny Shays, T.R. Dunn, Mike Evans, who is actually also another three-point shooter in a way. So we're actually going to make sure his is tapped a bit. Only a 20 will give him a 40. Sorry about that. I just see him as I go. So we have Howard Carter, Bill Hanslick, Richard Anderson, Kenny Dennard, Keith Edmondson, Dave Robish, and Anthony Roberts. For the Indiana Pacers, we have Jerry Sitchin, Butch Carter, Clark Kellogg, who I believe is a sophomore. Yep, Clark Kellogg. I mean, hey, rookie season, 2011-3. I mean, hey, man, he hooping. Curtis Rowe, Herb Williams, Steve Stepanovich, George Johnson, Brooke Steppe, Kevin McKenna, Granville Waiters, Jim Thomas, Leroy Combe, Tracy Jackson, and Sidney Lowe. The Detroit Pistons have Isaiah Thomas, Vinnie Johnson, Kelly Tripucka, Earl Carrington, Bill Lambier, John Long, Terry Tyler, Kent Benson, Wilbur Holland, Lionel Hollins, Ray Tolbert, Cliff Livingston, David Thirdkill, and Walker Russell. The Houston Rockets have Alan Levell, Robert Reed, Rodney McCray, Caldwell Jones, Ralph Sampson, Lewis Lloyd, Phil Ford, Joe Bryant, Craig Elo, Chuck Nevitt, Elvin Haystill, and James Bailey, Major Jones, and Wally Walker, with Terry Teagle to round out the roster. The San Antonio Spurs have Johnny Moore, George Gervin, Mike Mitchell, Edgar Jones, Artis Gilmore, Gene Banks, Fred Roberts, Mark McNamara, Ron Brewer, John Paxson, Steve Lingenfelter, Dave Batten, Daryl Lockhart, and Bob Miller. The Phoenix Suns have Kyle Macy, Walter Davis, Larry Nance, Maurice Lucas, James Edwards, Rod Foster, Alvin Adams, Paul Westphal, Alvin Scott, Rory White, Rick Roby, and Charles Pittman, with Mike Sanders and Johnny Hyde to round out their roster. The Supersonics have Gus Williams at the point, Al Wood, Reggie King, Tom Chambers, Jack Sikma, David Thompson, Danny Vrains, Fred Brown, John Sunvold, Scooter McCrae, Charles Bradley, Clay Johnson, Steve Hayes, and Steve Halls. The Portland Trailblazers are going to have Fat Lieber, a rookie Clyde Drexler, Calvin Nat, Kenny Carr, which that being said, this is also a sophomore Fat Lieber, Wayne Cooper, Jim Paxson, Darnell Valentine, Michael Thompson, Larry Keenan, Bob Gross, Jeff Lamp, Audie Norris, Pete Van Hoven, and Tom Piotrowski. Them signing Bob Gross, I actually added him as a historic free agent. He actually has his number retired with the Blazers. Fun fact. The Golden State Warriors, which is the last team, will feature Sleepy Floyd, Lester Connor, Purvis Short, Mickey Johnson, Joe Barry Carroll, Larry Smith, Ken Charles, Mike Bratz, Don Collins, Pace Mannion, Darren Tillis, Russell Cross, Chris Engler, and Royalyn Bond. So, that being said, we went over all the teams. I think we're at like 35 plus minutes right now, I do believe. But, like I said, off camera, just so y'all know exactly what I will be doing, I'm going to be going through and I'm going to be fixing each and every single person's contract. So let's say Bruce Kaczynski is supposed to be on a 4-year, $300,000 contract for the 4 years, right? That's what he's going to get. So we're going to go through and make sure we do all of that. And there's actually some players where I'm going to go and change their release or look back through to see if they had a better card in past my teams, because like I said, I only went through and did the cards that have cards. So like Sidney Moncrief, he has his Opal jump shot, and that's his Opal in this game, so that's what he's going to get. But someone like Bob Lanier might not have a good card in this game yet, but he might have a good release in 2K24 on a card. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to see y'all in the next episode. Again, let me know in the comment sections trade ideas y'all want to do, and or what trades y'all think would be fun. I actually have a trade in mind, and it's gonna be with the Celtics, and I don't know if I really should do this, but Gerald Henderson, and we take New Jersey Nets, since they got Michael Ray Richardson off the bench. We then offer them, oh wait, what are they missing? They're missing 73 more K than they can take. So we take Old Man Geoff Petrie. Wow. Oh wow, we can't. Alright, so we'll try to take Bill Wallaby off of them, and we'll give them 2 seconds. I don't like this, because that's technically, I feel like they're getting fleeced there. We're going to throw them a future 87. Nah. We're actually going to offer them 3 seconds. So the way I see it is Kelvin Ramsey, 8, 2, 1, and 1. He is 29 years old, been in the league for 4 years. Michael Ray Richardson has been in the league for 5. He is 28 years old. He just recently came off from the first season with his Warriors/Nets, where he was averaging 13, 5, and 7 with 3 steals. We're going to send him to the Boston Celtics with Bill Wallaby for Gerald Henderson, 3 second-round picks. That's the first trade we will be making. So welcome to the team, Michael Ray Richardson, making the Celtics just a tiny bit better. We're probably not going to make another trade with them, to be honest with you, unless it is upgrading the bench a little bit. So again, let me know in the comments what trades you want to see done in the next episode. I really do need the feedback. I want y'all to be a part of this huge simulation we're going to be doing. I want y'all to feel like y'all can also choose what goes on or where someone goes. So therefore, the way we're going to separate episodes, it's going to be pretty good. So with that being said, hopefully y'all enjoy the first episode of our 50-year sim. It's been your boy TrillyDaGamer. I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. Y'all have a good rest of your day, and peace out.